Yesterday we had Mike Sando on. Great guest. Knows the league like the back of his hand. Whatever team you throw anything, just throw something from any team at him, and he's going to have an answer for you and real good thoughts on it. But we were talking about the Cardinals yesterday with Mike Sando. And, you know, the fact of the matter is they're 2-5. They're in last place. They've dug themselves a hole. Jonathan Gannon's own words going into the bye. Why have they been there? Well, we know what's happened in the first 7 games. It's been a play here, a play there, not closing out games, some really frustrating losses, including 3 straight walk-off losses. But when you go back to March to July, Bick, when this roster was being put together, we know how the Cardinals attacked it. Monty Ossenfort looked at last year's offense and said, I think we're good there. We had these discussions in those months. He looked at the defense and said, this is not nearly good enough. This is where we need to invest. Nearly all of their draft capital went to the defensive side of the ball. Nearly all of their free agent dollars that they spent went to the defensive side of the ball. So I asked Mike about that very thing. The neglect, if you will, of the offense, not upgrading the offense and what we're seeing from it. And he had an interesting answer that got me thinking.
I mean, okay, I get it, but it made sense to me, and a couple other teams did this too. They had to get the defense better.
Sure.
You know, 2 years ago, they're the worst in the league. You know, last year they're in the bottom probably. I think they were 23rd by the rankings I use. And the disappointing part to me is that they're 21st right now. You know, I think that if they were 8th on defense right now, then whatever's going on offense, they're middle of the pack offensively, statistically right now. And it's a little worse than it was last year. But if the defense, all those investments that they made, I think the first 5 picks they took were on defense. Obviously, they spent a lot of money. If they had a top 10 defense, I think, okay.
That I was lying in bed last night trying to go to sleep thinking about this very subject. And to me, okay, that would make a lot of sense. What Mike Sando pointed out, putting all your resources on the defensive side of the ball because the defense was so not good last year. You've used the term underfunded for the first 2 years of the Monty Ossenfort / Jonathan Gannon era, talking about the defense. To me, being in that situation in year 3 of a regime is unacceptable.
I totally agree with you. Yeah, no, listen, that's a failure to me, if you want to be honest about this, because by year 3, especially given the patience of this fan base and the grace fans have shown this team in the first 2 years, buying in to this plan, because I think most Cardinal fans did. And I think it was easy because you were coming out of a regime full of dysfunction at the very end, a thing that got real sideways. And I think there was an air of professionalism and seriousness about this new regime. And by year 3, you should be humming. You should have all the assets you need on both sides of the ball. And you're right, ignoring the offense, that seemed to be a big issue. And it still does, quite honestly.
Look, and I will give Monty Ossenfort, from my perspective, a pass on the offensive line. I thought the offensive line was pretty decent last year, even though it was banged up at times when they lost Will Hernandez. I thought it was one of the strengths of the team. So I can see going into the offseason saying, you know what, we're good there. Losing your offensive line coach obviously has had ramifications for this team.
Way more than I ever anticipated.
It also goes to the draft strategy as well, and a lot's been made that Monty Ossenfort in 3 drafts now has picked 28 players. 11 of those have been offense. 17 of those have been defensive players. And I don't know if you want to call it mismanagement, bad luck, whatever. A lot of those players have not panned out on the defensive side of the ball.
You could rattle them off. Darius Robinson, B.J. Ojulari, as we have mentioned, Walter Nolan, who has not been able to get on the field yet, but his practice window is open. There should be some real, with all those draft picks selected, there should be some real impact players. We don't even have a Pro Bowler yet out of those 28 picks.
We'll say this. Will Johnson was named to, I think it was it The Ringer? The Ringer's mid-season all-rookie team.
Okay.
So
he looks very promising.
That's a feather in the cap
Garrett
right there.
Williams looks very promising.
Yes.
So I'm not saying this is disaster-like stuff, but
and a lot of those players have been injured too.
Here's the I know that. Here's the other thing, but you know what? In football, injuries are the same thing as not producing. you can't hold it against.
Your greatest ability
is availability. You can't hold it against the player, but it's part of your body of work. Okay, so here's the thing that troubles me is the Cardinals now, for all of these close games, and internally that's the messaging. Fellas, we're close. We could be 7-0. We're right there. We just need to do these little things better, and everything will turn around for us. National football experts aren't buying it. You check power rankings, Cardinals are landing right around 25. So they're not equating these close games to a really good football team waiting to explode.
You know why?
They're way down at the end.
Yeah, I think most people from a national perspective, sorry, Jared, I think more people would be putting the Cardinals in the category of more likely to implode as opposed to explode and start winning some of these games. I don't know if that's true either. Mm-hmm. It seems like they're very even-keeled, top to bottom, but you want to win games, something's got to change.
And here's the thing. For all those resources allocated to the defense, they are just not pressuring the quarterback.
No.
And this is the same issue they had a couple of years ago. They have 12 sacks in 7 games. Only 5 teams have fewer.
And you didn't admit Josh Sweat has been...
Josh Sweat's been good.
Decent.
He's been good.
Decent,
He's been good.
but...
I'll even go as far as good. He's been good.
He's been good.
But that's sort of like the other point that Sando was making in that soundbite was that, like, okay, you could sort of excuse putting all the money and all the resources into the defense, but then that defense has to be really good.
Yeah.
Or elite.
And they're 21st, as he put it.
And it hasn't been. Then it makes the whole strategy look wrong.
When I envisioned this season before it began, and when I envisioned the most positive outcomes, I thought we were going to see a defensive front that just collapsed the opponent, that just wreaked havoc on quarterbacks.
And I think there's only been really one stretch of football that we've seen that at all, and that was early on, the first couple possessions of the Carolina game in the home opener when they threw the kitchen sink at Bryce Young,
right.
and it paid dividends.
Yeah.
They had a defensive touchdown, and I believe they forced was it another turnover or a punt?
I think so. They scored a touchdown, a defensive touchdown. And
The first possession they scored the touchdown,
right.
yeah. But
only 5 players, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 5 players have sacks on the entire team. One of those is 600-year-old Calais Campbell has 3 sacks. And Josh Sweat, we mentioned, he leads the team in 5, but you got to have more.
Yeah, no.
And a couple weeks ago, there was a promo running for Burns and Gambo where Burnsy made the point, Calais Campbell might be the Cardinals' best defensive player. And I don't think that's a good thing. I think he's right.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's very, very true. And so that's something coming out of this bye week that they need to get that unit revved up. And again, I think getting guys back is going to help.
Well,
injuries have been a factor.
They have been, but they're going up against a really good offense.
Oh.
Does it, just apropos related, but does it feel like Budda Baker has been less impactful this year?
Yes. Yes, it does.
I can't put my finger on exactly why, but it just feels like he's not.
He was everywhere last year.
Yeah.
And when you're that around the football on a consistent basis, man, his tackle numbers were ridiculous. But when there's a drop-off, it becomes real. And look, we've been watching Budda for so long, and you know what type of player he is. When that doesn't happen at a consistent level, I think it gets inflated.
Yeah.
Like, what's Budda doing? He's still having an impact, but it's a smaller impact than he's had.
I think Nick Rollis is going to have to kind of scheme some stuff up. He's got to get in the kitchen and cook up some soup. Yeah, Jarrett, there you go, Jarrett. Now I'm talking.
Finally, an analogy I
your
understand.
Yes. And make sure that soup is stirred before Monday night.
Make sure it's stirred.
Nobody likes that skin on the top.
Oh,
Yes.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.